UFC President Dana White, and we're always looking for up-and-coming talent to sign. Back in the day, I used to scout the world looking for new talent, but I haven't done that in years. I'm looking for the next Ronda Rousey, the next Robbie Lawler, the next Conor McGregor. I'm looking for future champions, and I'm willing to go to any show, anywhere in the world to find them. Super excited about the talent on tonight's card. A lot of tough fighters. Let's see who really wants their shot at the UFC.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and this is your UFC Minute. The UFC returns this weekend with a fresh face who is destined to make headlines. When UFC President Dana White went looking for a fight, he was hoping that he would end up with a future UFC star. And those are the expectations after he signed a regional champion who has dominated the local middleweight circuit en route to his Octagon debut this weekend. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights.
Coming up next.
I'm Megan O'Leary, and this is your UFC Minute. As a fighter's wins begin to add up, the pressure to maintain momentum becomes a major factor. The jiu-jitsu game of this UFC sensation has already drawn rave reviews over the years, making it a rough night for opponents whenever the fight hits the mat. But he's taken it to a new level, as he has forced each opponent during his recent winning streak to tap out before the final horn. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights.
All right, coming up next.
To become a legend in the UFC, a fighter needs someone to push him to be great. McGregor had Diaz, Jones had Cormier, and Silva had Sonnen. Each series didn't just pit the best against the best, but it matched up rivals that had personal scores to settle. And when the Octagon door shut, the bad blood reached a boiling point. Who will be the one to step up and put this feud to rest? Or give up bragging rights once and for all?
All right, coming up next, it's a UFC.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. In mixed martial arts, if you're not evolving, you're losing. So, in an effort to make sure he continues on the right path to the top of the middleweight division, this fighter announced this week that in order to keep building his skill set, he was packing his bags and leaving the gym where he got his start. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. It came as a shock to the MMA community when this fighter left his longtime gym recently. But that surprise was nothing compared to the reaction felt around the globe when he agreed to fight his longtime training partner in a compelling matchup that highlights this weekend's UFC card at Madison Square Garden in New York City. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights.
Coming up next, we get...
I'm Megan O'Leary, and this is your UFC Minute. This weekend, we brace for a crucial matchup, which is expected to shake up an entire division. To get into position for a world title shot, this fighter has fought tooth and nail against the best the middleweight division has to offer. And while getting into a #1 contenders match is sweet enough, if this fighter beats his heated rival to earn that shot at the belt, the victory would be even more satisfying. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights.
Coming up next.
Fighters fight for many different reasons. Some do it for the fame, others do it for the money. Eventually, all of that fades away. Yet going down in the history books as a UFC champion is something no one can ever take. It's proof that for a moment in time, out of all the fighters in your weight class, you were the best in the world. It's the culmination of all your hard work, the fulfillment of a dream. Tonight is your chance to take that gold belt and hear Bruce Buffer say, "And new." That kind of glory lasts forever.
And coming up.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and it's time for your UFC Minute. The MMA world is buzzing about that incredible performance this past weekend in the main event. Last weekend at Saitama Super Arena in Tokyo, Japan, it was a night to remember for the mixed martial artist whose story has captured the imagination of fans around the globe as he fought the fight of his life when it mattered the most. When the dust settled, Bruce Buffer said, "And new." And he was crowned UFC middleweight champion of the world thanks to a memorable performance. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. When the UFC middleweight champion won his belt, no one knew what to expect from the fighter with the exciting style and unyielding confidence. Yet since that memorable title-winning night, he has successfully defended the belt multiple times, and he shows no signs of slowing down as his next title defense approaches. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights.
All right, coming up.
Some paths must eventually cross. And as two of the greatest fighters in the UFC kept dominating their opposition, it was inevitable that this moment would come. When the octagon door closes for tonight's super fight, the talk will be over, and the entire sports world will come to a halt. This is no ordinary fight. It's a battle between two champions, willing to put their own divisional crowns on the line to prove themselves worthy to be on top. And when the dust settles, there can only be one winner, a king with two crowns.
There in the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Dan Murgliano has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 52 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a triangle choke, and new undisputed UFC light heavyweight champion of the world, the Warrior.
Absolutely remarkable what this fighter was able to accomplish here tonight as he adds his name to a short list of fighters to win a UFC championship in more than one division. He has prided himself on taking on all comers, and tonight he gets the job done in epic fashion. Congratulations to the now two-division UFC champion of the world.
I'm Megan O'Leary, and this is your UFC Minute. Remember when we were telling you that you shouldn't miss this past weekend's monumental super fight? I hate to be that person, but we told you so. The fans were buzzing, the world was watching, and Madison Square Garden in New York City was at capacity last weekend when the UFC middleweight champion challenged the light heavyweight title holder in an epic super fight. When it was over, he had silenced the critics and made history as one of only a handful of fighters to become a world champion in 2 weight classes. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. If there was a hole in the fight game of this rising light heavyweight star, it was clearly in his stand-up attack. But this week, he announced that he was leaving his longtime team in order to join up with a new team that guarantees an intriguing new look that will result in plenty of knockout victories. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. It's starting to become a welcomed habit for UFC fans. See the name of this fighter on the card, and excitement will always follow. If you need proof, it's right there on the record of this light heavyweight, as he's won several Performance of the Night bonuses since he made his Octagon debut. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. I'm Megan O'Leary, and this is your UFC Minute. As a fighter's wins begin to add up, the pressure to maintain momentum becomes a major factor. To win in the UFC isn't easy. To do it as many times in a row as this light heavyweight standout has is a remarkable feat that has this fighter on the verge of even more big things in the world-renowned Octagon, as he prepares for his latest battle in mixed martial arts' ultimate proving ground. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. It's an old fight game adage that fans love nothing more than a knockout. If that's the case, then they will love this light heavyweight banger, who was celebrated today for delivering the most knockouts in UFC history, a record achieved thanks to his devastating prowess in the Octagon with his fists, feet, elbows, and knees. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. In every combat sport, it's a well-known fact that it's harder to defend a title than to win it. So when the UFC light heavyweight champion set the record for the most title defenses, it marked this longtime champion as not only the most dominant title holder ever seen in the Octagon, but as a legitimate and likely Hall of Fame candidate. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights. Hey everyone, I'm Megan O'Leary, and here's what you need to know for your UFC Minute. To reach the masses in this day and age, it's not enough just to win fights. Today, a UFC competitor has to put on dominant and exciting performances. And that's just what this charismatic rising star has been doing. As a result, this fighter has been piling up followers on social media, with each victory adding more and more fans to his bandwagon. That's it for today. Stay tuned for your next UFC Minute, and I'll see you at the fights.